When to sort of think about barriers to change, what are some of the most common barriers to change that you've come across in your work?
I would say it's the beliefs. It's that belief system that people have, whatever that is, that tends to be the biggest blocker. So it's the beliefs that drive the behavior, that drive the response. We spend, or there's definitely that tendency to spend a lot of time on trying to use willpower and trying to change the behavior or the emotion or that response. But until we spend time looking at the belief that drives that, it's very, very hard. And I think often we need to work at two together. So it does need willpower. It does need a very conscious behavior change of, no, I don't want to do that anymore. I want to do this instead. It does need that. But we also need to work on the belief, the rules in our head, the story that we tell ourselves that drives why we respond in that way. Because if we don't do that, we will only ever be able to change that behavior when we're in that conscious mind and that conscious place in our minds. And as soon as we're tired or hungry or hormonal or emotional or stressed and everything else is taking over, we'll revert back to what we've always done, because that's just what we do. And so we need to change the belief that sits in behind it. And I think that is the biggest blocker, is the belief that we hold, the story that we tell ourselves, the rules that we have, that we apply to things that influence that. And what comes up in coaching sessions for me a lot of the time is people haven't always thought about it. It's not an obvious thing to think about. Okay, what is driving that behavior? Why do I do that? And it does quite often go into the past. And sometimes it is an uncomfortable conversation while people are working that through. You don't have to know where it's come from to be able to change it. You just have to know what it is. And you have to know what it is and what do you want it to be. So what is the old belief that is holding you back? And what's the new belief that you want to believe is true that's going to help you to drive those new behaviors? And that comes in with health, that comes in with confidence, patterns of behavior, all of those things, it comes in. But I think that for me is the biggest blocker. But if we can get to that and people can work on that, it's also the biggest driver of change as well. So as often are these things, it's the biggest obstacle in the way, isn't it? And as soon as you remove it, it's what speeds everything up. But firstly, you have to identify what the belief is. You have to identify what you want to believe is true. And then you have to start consciously looking for all of the things that prove that this new belief is true and reinforcing that. And it is repetition. It's like muscle memory, but in your head is those neurological pathways of, this is what I believe. This is the rule. These are my new rules. This is the new story that I tell myself. And this is the new behavior, the new habits, the new responses that I want that are going to lead me into the life that I'm looking for. So I think if you can change the beliefs, so much more changes. It's that kind of ripple effect of, if you change the belief, it has a huge impact across lots of different areas. Whereas if you change the habit, you have to change all of those individual habits that quite often come from the same belief. So